Hi, welcome to VMA, Virtual Martial Arts. Today we're going to be speaking to Jenny, who's a martial artist with us and has been training for around 10 years now. Hi Jenny.
Hello Jay.
So today's interesting. We're speaking to you about empowering women and martial arts in the industry for women, and want to find out a little bit about yourself and how you actually started martial arts, but also what you were like as a youngster growing up and what took you to this direction of martial arts.
Okay. So when I was young, I was into gymnastics, big time. Horse riding, not probably typical things as a lot of girls probably are. Then as I was getting older, I did various things like went to the gym a bit. Then I had 3 children. And after the children, I thought, right, now I want to spend some time on me and I want to go back to doing some fun stuff. And one of my children started doing self-defense classes. She came to you, and I thought that looked really cool and looked like something I could be really interested in. So I then asked if there were any adult classes, and I remember specifically you said, yes, you can come and watch if you want to. And I didn't want to watch, no, I want to participate, from day one, and really enjoyed it because the people that were there were really friendly, and it was again learning something. You actually have to think about techniques, using your brain, not just the actual exercise. So it just seemed to fit in quite nicely in my life at the time.
And we had kickboxing classes as well at the time, didn't we? Which I mentioned to you, but you weren't interested in those, and you were more interested in the self-defense aspect. Why was that over something that's really a good martial art such as kickboxing as well?
I think it was because obviously the world we're living in is changing. It's becoming a lot more violent. There's knife crime, gun crimes, and you read a lot more about it. And I think I wanted to do something that I thought was potentially going to be useful. I mean, hoping I was never going to have to use it, but something I felt would be more practical, which is why I was more interested in the martial arts aspect and the self-defense aspect, because it just made sense. What if something happens in real life, and I guess it made me feel a bit safer that I had some skills if something would happen.
Okay. So you did nothing else self-defense related or fighting aspect of things, just gymnastics growing up until you trained with us?
And like I said, horse riding, very sort of typical sort of girly things. But no, nothing. I mean, I had never in a million years thought I would be interested in it. But then when I saw how it was practiced and how it was so very, practical, and it was the fastest, cleverest way to defend yourself. And it was quite brutal, I'll be honest, but then a lot of women don't have perhaps the strength that men have, so they have to think of other ways or techniques to defend themselves, so they have to be quite brutal, I'll be honest, but that just it's appealed to me at the time.
I mean, there's things that we're going to touch on later on in other series of videos, but a lot of self-defense classes, should we say, or self-defense martial arts, they are seen as a course. So it's kind of, I still get calls now of, can I join your course? And I say, it's not a course, it's ongoing, like a martial art is. And I know there's self-defense courses, but in a course you can only learn so much. So it's like a basic foundation of how you stand, what you do if someone grabs your wrist, and people see self-defense as that. For you, you've treated this as a complete martial arts system, and which you've now joined us with Krav Maga Heimzu and treated it as a ongoing training system. So what I want to get across obviously in the future as well is that with sport-based martial arts and self-defense systems such as Krav Maga, it is an ongoing journey. And for yourself, going forwards, do you find it something you want to do until you get to an older age where you are at a high level, or do you just want to learn the basics? Well, you've passed the basics probably now anyway, but where do you feel yourself going with your journey?
I think I enjoy learning, so, and you will never stop learning, and I think this ongoing is also repetition, because it has to become a reaction, right? Whatever technique you use. So to be honest, I will probably keep going for as long as I can. And if I learn more stuff, along the way, then that's fantastic. So yes, that's my plan. I don't have any plans to stop anytime soon.
Okay. And your children all come to martial arts, 3 of your girls, is that right? So what's your reason for introducing martial arts to them? Because some parents want their kids to do something the same as them or something different to them or find their own way, but you find this obviously something you want them to do by encouraging them to still train on a regular basis.
Yeah. I think it's again the environment we live in. I feel you have to equip your children to live in that environment safely. And I'd rather talk to them about it and be honest about it than try and sort of hide it or not discuss it, because they read everything in the press. They know what happens in the schools. So I want them to feel more comfortable so they can walk home at night and they don't have to be scared. I want them to feel that they know something. So I guess that's why I sort of push them in that direction. They quite enjoy it when they're here. I'm not going to lie, they don't always like coming, but once they're here, they seem to enjoy it. And I've seen how they've gotten better and better. And you can have a normal conversation with them about, knife crime and things like they read in the papers, and they don't get scared,
And going forwards with the girls, do you feel that you would like them to, and do you think they would like to continue this path? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but if in an ideal scenario, what would you like from them as a mum?
I want them to be comfortable and happy. I'm not going to force them to do something they don't want to do, and I don't expect them to necessarily be, black belts or whatever. But I want them to feel, have some self-confidence, not be scared of going out at night, and so I guess that's what I want for them. So I guess we'll have to see, they may stop at some point, they may continue, they may change to another type of more sporty martial arts, I don't know.
And something that we've had a lot of is women, girls coming through the door and feeling, when coming to a self-defense environment, feeling a bit nervous on their first lesson. Of course, that's normal anyway. But when maybe another man has grabbed them in the class in any particular technique, they feel very uncomfortable. We try to obviously explain that you're in a self-defense environment. It's safe, it's professional. We're equipped here for that. But they still feel they don't like someone being physical with them and grabbing them. That is obviously part of the real situation. It's going to be 9 times out of 10 someone grabbing you that you don't know, it's a stranger, and possibly man on woman here. So how did you get your head around a man grabbing you that you don't know, because it was your first few weeks and you didn't know everyone at the time, and it could be a new person coming through the door, it could be a stranger grabbing you. How did you get your head around that?
Well, I have to say everyone was very friendly and welcoming, so I never felt uncomfortable in that way. I do remember though the first time I had to punch someone in the face, and likewise I was punched in the face, and that was a bit of a moment, but then realising that, hang on a minute, this will be reality if something happened. I'd much rather know what that feels like so that I can prepare myself than for it to happen and then be shocked and not do anything. So I guess there were a couple of things I had to overcome, but I found generally people very friendly and helpful, and as I started to realise as I did this more and more, that actually we need to recreate some real situations. We would do people a disservice if we just said to them, oh, don't worry, no one's going to grab you that hard, or they're not going to grab you, they're not going to touch you, and then try to teach them a technique. They'd walk out of here thinking they're wonderful, and I don't want that, and I think most women don't want that. It might just be the initial shock, but as long as you have, people who are very helpful, friendly, which we have, then I think it's a process. You will overcome things and get more and more comfortable. But I appreciate that first time. That could be a bit of a, oh my goodness, what is this?
It'd be interesting to see what you think on this one, because I remember one particular girl that came to our class. She must have been about 24, and she was physically able, she was strong, she was fit, and she ended up doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, funny enough, years later. She done a bit of kickboxing, and I remember we were doing some groundwork where they're in the guard position and pinning her down. So yes, he was in between her legs, and she said she just didn't feel comfortable, even in the environment, and would rather not think about that than to actually come and train and just deal with the situation. And obviously, you know, that's something that if one person feels that, many people feel that. So how do you feel you could get your head around forgetting about the scenario as such, but treating it seriously and training so that you can get your mindset in the right place?
I think there probably will be some people who will never be comfortable. So let's just, you know, face that fact. People have to want to do this. You know, you have to feel, actually, I really want to learn how to do this because I am scared, you know, what's going on around me. So I think there has to be motivation. Some of them I don't feel I'm motivated enough, I'll be honest. But I think the way to overcome it is that gradual, you know, introduction to things, and then have them work with people they're initially comfortable with, right? And then you can add more pressure as you go along, or you can add, you know, a heavier man or whatever. But I think it's a gradual process. And most people tend to be okay with that. But there will be the odd one, absolutely, who feels so uncomfortable. But to me, you sit, then you're, you know, you're hiding your head in the sand and you're pretending, you know, what's going on out there is not going on there then.
But it'd be interesting to know the percentages of how many women, girls, women, teenagers, whatever, have actually learnt how to defend themselves, whatever martial art.
It always helps if you work with people who you know, and if you know that they're friendly and they're helpful and they're not going to go too hard, then actually you don't mind so much, right? And that's the opportunity, I guess, to be a little bit more realistic in the way perhaps, you know, people are attacked. So you discuss attacks and perhaps what might happen, and then you can increase the pressure as you go along after that. And most people do want that, I find. If you talk to the ladies who come to self-defense classes now, you know, a lot of the time they go, right, okay, you know, I want you to go harder, I want you to try harder, I want you to be more realistic, because they trust the person that they're training with. And I think that's really, really important.
When you say self-defense, and this is what we've always discussed here at the gym, is what's great is that Krav Maga has made it a martial, no, I don't like to call it martial art, but a self-defense fighting system, okay? It's made it cool. It's made it, I can train in this from white belt to black belt and beyond, where self-defense as a whole, again, as I said earlier, it was like a course, okay? So people think self-defense is, I grab your wrist, you escape, I grab your clothing, you escape. Now, as you well know, it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are on the whole thing. How well-rounded is your Krav Maga and self-defense training?
I think there are elements that you can take from different martial arts that will make your self-defense techniques even better. I don't think there's any one type that will give you everything you need. Krav Maga is great and it's my favorite, as you know, but it's not very good for groundwork. So I think if you know some BJJ on top of that, fantastic. I think if you know some, you know, kickboxing and Muay Thai on top of that, I think that's great. So I think really the best self-defense sort of system, if you like, is one that takes elements, or the best elements, from different types of martial arts. But yes, Krav Maga is you know, my favorite, and I think a lot of it comes from that. So yes, and that's why I've tried to do different things. So I've done a bit of BJJ, I still do Muay Thai, you know, Krav Maga is my favorite. I do boxing as well, and I find it makes me more comfortable and better at the other stuff. So the punching is better through boxing, but then I use the punching in the Krav Maga as well. And the kicking is good in Krav Maga, but then I do Muay Thai and they focus in more on kicking. So a bit of everything, Dave.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Having the background of different martial arts will help and assist you in another martial art more than anything. So with Krav Maga, as you say, boxing, Muay Thai, blending it all together, you're going to get a better self-defense practitioner from that. So where do you feel women should get their mindset if they wanted to step foot in a gym and learn? Because that's the hardest step, isn't it?
Yes, the first step is the hardest. But I think if you try and find a reputable place that seems to offer not just pure boxing, Muay Thai, what have you. You want something that actually does self-defense. And I think go along, have a look at one session, see how that makes you feel. If you know someone else who goes to that gym, talk to them, ask them what it's like. But I think coming along to try one out or watch one will give you a good idea of whether it's a good place or not. But that's the first step, isn't it? That's the hardest part. And then do try it. Don't just go, oh, that looks good and I'll call them next week. No, try and commit to something straight away, and you'll find once you're in it, it is easier. Makes you feel more relaxed and more comfortable. But you have to take that first step.
And what did you look for? Why did you come to us? Why didn't you go somewhere else?
Because I wanted my child to learn self-defense. Was she 7? Can't remember now. Something like that. And you offered self-defense classes for children. No one else did that. They all did pure, taekwondo and things, and that wasn't going to be sufficient, right? So I came along to that class, and I thought, well, I want to do that. I want to do the stuff they're doing. And that's when you said we have a class for adults, and I started from there, really. So it was the fact that you seem to cover all those aspects of self-defense, not just one particular pure self-defense type. And again, being very welcoming and, tried it out, see what you think. And there were a couple of other females there at the time, which I spoke to, and they were all very friendly. So I liked it.
Okay.
It felt right, felt good.
Yeah. And do you get fitness from your self-defense training as well?
Yeah, I do. I do that as well. I mean, I do other stuff, like I said, the Muay Thai and the boxing, which is also very focused on fitness. But yes, the Krav Maga does fitness as well. Yeah.
I just think that's something that obviously a lot of women want to get. All of us, we all want to get fit along the way. It's a byproduct of your training, I guess. But again, I hope that women can understand that if you do come to a gym or a martial arts facility and you specifically want self-defense rather than sport-based martial art, will you get fit as well?
You will, and I think when we train self-defense, we don't go sort of full speed or full power. That's the thing. So you learn the techniques, and then when you add full speed and full power on top, then it gets quite tiring.
Yeah. And we're trying to venture out to the world now with virtual martial arts, because we can only train so many people in the gym, and we can only have so many members with the space we've got. So trying to empower women to go train in Australia, train in America, train in Italy, wherever. What would you say as a female, Googling online and looking for a gym, and then when you turn up, what specific things, now that you are a martial artist and you've been in the game for a long time and you know what's right and what's wrong and what's unprofessional and professional, what would you say to tune in? Because what you don't want is somebody to turn up at the gym, go through that big step of stepping forward and going, right, I'm going, and then they have a terrible experience. I was one of those. I had a terrible experience on a few occasions. I just kept coming back. But the majority of people don't do that. They go once and they had a bad experience and they just won't go back. What would you, is there any advice that you could give?
I think it's obviously you need to look at what type of martial art or self-defense you want. So if it's self-defense, find a place that does offer self-defense, not just boxing or Muay Thai, right? I would look for self-defense. And then I think it's important to check it out, right? Because you can see certain things online, things might not be up to date, but go and check it out. And to be honest, a lot of the time you get a feel for it. If you just observe people, right, and see how they behave. And also if someone comes and talks to you, I think that's helpful. So shows a genuine interest, and do you have any questions, someone's being helpful, they should offer a trial, absolutely should offer a trial. I think it does help if there are other females there, I think, for a lot of females. Because it can be quite intimidating otherwise. So that does help. But I think it's a lot of the time it's actually a feeling that you get, because you can see how people behave. Are they swearing? Are they shouting? Are they out of control? Are they looking like they're really just there for a good punch up rather than actually learn something? Mm-hmm. So I think that will give you an idea. And then try a session. That'd be my advice. And then decide what you want to do.
Because we've had lots of women say they don't want to be in a room with lots of women training. They want to train with the guys, and they want to get full on with the training as well. But I'm just going with the angle of a complete beginner, very nervous, doesn't want to be the only female in the room, which is understandable. What would you be able to say to any of the viewers at the moment watching this video about joining a martial arts facility?
I think it's great. I think if you're interested in self-defense skills, then do some initial research online, perhaps to find a place where they offer the kind of martial arts you want. Hopefully something that's close by. Then go and check them out. Go and observe a lesson and see what you think. Does it look like they actually care about their students? Are people learning? Are the instructors good? Does it have a good vibe? You know, that's what my recommendation would be, and then make a decision based on that.
Having you on this video is fantastic, because I think really you were the main female that came to us, trained hard, beat up a lot of the guys, gave them a tough time if you didn't beat them up at least, and have actually empowered a lot of the women here. They see you as, you know, a high up level, because, you know, you train hard, you know, and seeing somebody that's not done anything from 10 years ago to now, I think you've certainly empowered the women here. So I think coming forward with a positive outlook really. If any of the viewers here are watching the channel, if you're in Harrow, we're based in London, Modern Combat Martial Arts, abbreviated to MCMA. You can come down, try out a lesson free of charge. You'll probably meet Jenny, she's always here, and you can get some advice, maybe from Jenny or myself, and start to learn a martial art, whatever that would be. Get a free trial, as I say, so there's nothing to lose.
Come and check